We're all struggling to improve academic achievement, especially among young people that are plagued with poverty.
Remember what I said? It doesn't make any difference if your kid goes to public school or private school. It's what the parents' income is, their educational status, and socioeconomic level.
And all the problems that we're having now in our city with poverty and crime, they all go back to reading.
I'm looking at news reports that we're getting kids younger and younger participating in theft and car theft and shooting guns and all kind of behavior. But I believe that's because we have not engaged them.
Willie W. Harrington. I'm a retiree. I'm a retiree of the Memphis City School System. I spent 30 years of service in the Memphis City Schools.
Martavius Jones, former Memphis City Councilman, former board member, Memphis City Schools and Shelby County Schools.
I am a product of Memphis City Schools, graduated from the Whitehaven High School. I represented the community in District 3 on the school board as well as the City Council.
My name is Dr. Jeff Warren. I'm a family physician in Memphis since 1988, and I was on Memphis City School Board and the Shelby County School Board combined with the Memphis City School Board, and served a total of 8 2/3 years there. And I'm a second term now as a city councilman for Super District 9-3 for the city of Memphis.
I was available to the public at all times, especially during those times when we had a lot of grief.
Memphis was a segregated city. People of color were relegated to sitting on the back of the bus. We were drinking water from separate water fountains marked white and colored. Our schools were racially segregated.
I started attending school board meetings, county commission meetings, city council meetings, because it was my first time living in Memphis as an adult.
Let me first of all say that our new superintendent did not create these challenges, these problems. She has inherited, to me, in my way of thinking, an underfunded school system that suffers from deferred maintenance, which caught up with us.
We decided to give up the school system to try to force the county schools to do something that didn't make any sense in my opinion. I voted against this. And once we did that, all of the policies that we had as Memphis City Schools went away, and we went under the Shelby County school policies.
The citizens didn't understand the plight of our district and our children and what was going on at the time. And we didn't take the time to make sure they understood. We had town hall meetings, we listened to angry parents, we listened to an angry community, we answered the questions the best that we could. However, that background information that was needed was not given in a manner where the people heard it, received it, and followed up on it.
In our system, we have the county commission that funds the school system, and the state that funds the school system, that the local tax component comes from the county commission. And they say, well, we can't help the schools aren't doing well. They're not running them right. And the schools say, well, we need this amount of money to do it, and you're not giving it to us.
In Memphis, in Memphis City Schools, and now Memphis-Shelby County Schools, we still have basically the same problem. And the problem is that we need more funds to be infused into our school system.
Your budget is your financial plan for executing your academic plan. So regardless of how ambitious our academic plan was, if we didn't have the money to do so, it was just words on a piece of paper.
When I was on the school board, I think we had a $550 million fiscal plant deficiency. We knew we were behind $550 million. I think now it's closer to 1 or 1.2 billion that it would take to get our school systems, just the schools and the facilities, up to par. So the issue that you've got is the school board can't do anything about that. They've got to get it from the county commission. And what we did when we gave up Memphis City Schools is what we did, we allowed 7 school districts to be formed, because once we did that, the state was going to change the law. And that's what they did. So now if Collierville wants a new high school, they bump taxes up a little bit in Collierville and it goes to their high school. Where before, what we had was for every dollar of taxes that you paid as a county resident, we had 70% of the students. We got 70 cents out of that dollar.
We had legacy Shelby County schools trying to obtain what was called a special school district status. There's something in Tennessee Code Annotated, Tennessee law, TCA 49-2-107, that talks about the taxes that are associated with a special school district. What we have right now in Bartlett, Collierville, and the other municipalities is not a special school district. It's something called municipal schools. And so I'm not a lawyer, but I can read. And there were special laws that are associated with special school districts that I felt had negative financial implications for funding and educating Memphis children.
I always believed that the Shelby County government had the responsibility to fund the schools, okay? Now, the only way you were going to get them to do that was they had to have full responsibility, so the charter had to be non-existent.
My responsibility was for my district, so we had a little battle going. And the attorneys that we hired, and over about 2 years, we decided that the best thing to do is to give up the charter.
Well, let me tell you, improving academic achievement is not a new challenge. I had that challenge, okay? We had the challenge of dealing with the impact of poverty, and it's even more pronounced today.
Well, we're talking about wages that can barely support an individual, much less wages that can support a family.
We have known for decades that there's a direct correlation between socioeconomic status and academic achievement.
There are times when you can't make sense of why so many of our kids are not only being targeted, but why so many of them are participating in crime. So it was one of those things where you almost had to be in constant contact with school administrators, with school security, trying to come up with a solution, trying to make sure that we all are offering each other the resources and the support that we needed.
Schools mirror the broader society. Don't expect to see in the schools what's not in the broader community.
So if you have to have a parent who has to work 2 full-time jobs in order to have what would be a living wage, you have very little time for supervision and other outside activities. To me, that's what has caused our crime problem.
Schools are supposed to be institutions of learning. No child should have to come to school and worried about being a victim of a crime, certainly not losing their life. And it's unfair to a child to have to come to school, and not only the physical structure of being at school, but even the pathway to get to school, and have to worry about being the victim of a crime or not being able to come back home. No parent should have to worry all day long, and I wonder if I'm going to get a phone call today that my child has been the victim of some type of crimes.
When it came out, the results from the state, and I think it was about 300 pages long, or it was on looking at my phone, and I looked at the reading scores, and I went down to about the M's or N's in the schools because it was alphabetical, and we just have to do better as a community and expect more. And all the problems that we're having now in our city with poverty and crime, they all go back to reading.
I hate to say this, but we got here by doing basically the same thing that we've done in the past, following the not thinking outside the box and trying to address education like great authors and publishers of books that say this is how you do it.
So reaching out as much as she can to the community, city council people, county commissioners, just introducing them, asking them, you know, what can we do over here, but listening.
I believe the most important thing that Dr. Fagans and the school board could do at this time, communicate with the community. Be out there where people can touch them.
It is of critical importance that the superintendent and the board have clear lines of communications, okay?